I don't know. I don't know, and that's probably not the correct answer. Or in what
but there would have to be a reason why. I don't know is not a good answer on TV.
Yes, I got no big argument about this.
But I think there's a setup. Like, I don't know because of something.
I believe that Melo could make them better. Do I think he can make them significantly better? No, not necessarily. But I do believe Melo can make them better because of the buyout. They're signing him in a minimum, so they're not paying a lot of money for him. He's a player who, if he accepts his role, if he understands how he, which is a big if, and that's where the question mark comes in. If he accepts his role, what they need out of him, what he can contribute, then yes, I believe that he could make them a little bit better. You add a 10-time All-Star and towards the end of his career, but he can still do some things for you on the offensive end. I'm not sure Melo is ready to accept his role, and that's going to continue to be the question until we get them out on the floor, because we spent an entire year last year watching him with the Oklahoma City Thunder, wondering if he was going to accept the role that he was in. So now, this second year, now after he was waived, and, does he reevaluate of being with a team that, again, has the potential to win? Will he do what it takes? And that's where I don't know.
I think this season should be easier for Melo. I'm not going to get into how a guy reacts to a buyout and all that kind of stuff, because Melo's to the point in his career, if we have to keep trying to tee him up. Well, what do you think, Melo? Do you think Melo understand? At some point, you either have to listen to your body, you have to either listen to your career, what it's saying. He just got his contract just got purchased, so that should speak to him. But I'm sure he's talking to Chris Paul, and the conversation should go something like this: man, what do you and James Harden need? This ain't about Melo. See, this is about the other players. It's about the talent. Man, what do they need? Because Trevor Ariza, Luc Richard, Bob Moute, they knew what these guys needed. Now, Luc Richard, he couldn't do it in the playoffs, but there was a clear pattern, game plan for what they need these role players to do. Chris Paul needs to sit down with Melo and tell him, man, this is what we need you to do. Because James Harden had to sit down with Chris Paul last season and tell him exactly what he needed. And that worked out. So we had all these questions going into the season. Will this work out? They had a conversation. It worked out. Melo, at this point in his career, he should be doing what these other players need, because he is strictly a role player. And they do need his spot-up shooting ability. They do need his scoring. It should be easier because Houston can score the basketball so much easier and in so many different ways than OKC could. So I believe that his role, it should be carved out, it should be talked about, and I believe that he should, at this point in his career, he should be able to do what they need him to do.
And he should be able to accept that. And the reason that I'm optimistic about this, and the question is an important one. The question is not, does Melo make the Rockets better than they were last year?
No.
It's as they presently sit here, having lost Ariza, having lost Bob Moute, with Chris Paul a year older, as they sit here today, are they better with him or without him?
Even Melo's detractors couldn't say that, oh, Houston, something, they're not a better team today if they sign
unless you believe that he won't do any of those things. If you believe...
Well, they don't have anybody else.
He's the best available player on the market right now.
Absolutely agreed. Unless you... Listen, I think if you think Melo's going to come in there and not acquiesce to what they need, there are some guys that are still technically quality basketball players who are bigger negatives than positives for teams trying to win a championship. I think that's how some people view Carmelo Anthony. The reason that I will be confident that he will be able to help them if he signs with them is there is a team that would sign him that has better weather, that has the same no state income taxes, that is not trying to go win a championship, that will feature him offensively, and that has one of his best friends still there. And that's Miami. If Melo doesn't...
Oh, let me tell you about veteran players going to Pat Riley, though. You don't see them going down there. Pat Riley got that body fat test.
10% body fat?
10%. No. And the workouts are brutal. Okay? So you don't go to Miami as an aging veteran in a buyout unless
you're going to coach.
Unless you have a different mindset than Melo has ever had in his career. So I never thought that was going to be a good match anyway.
Okay, well, I guess you have a perception of Melo as not a hard worker because he's never been chiseled, or you have a perception of Melo's work ethic that I've never had.
Well, if you read Melo, you read Men's Health magazine, he did an article in there as far as the things that he eats, and he didn't take care of his body. All right, so it's not me making up stuff.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say that is something I don't think he ever prioritized. And it seemed like he started to, but I don't know. He doesn't view that the way many NBA players do.
I
so
think
I don't
you
know
can.
if
But
that
this is the problem, though.
with him.
You can get away with that when you're younger.
You're young and
but
athletic.
when you get older, it plays a part in who you are as an athlete.
I agree with all of that. I think we can, to me, how you eat is a different bucket than how hard you work.
Yes.
You mentioned in Miami, you're not going to get there.
Let me tell you something. You can't remove both of them, because how well you eat, it helps how hard you're going to work from the energy that you get from your food.
There's no question about it. But you can be a guy that makes bad food choices and still be a guy that busts your ass in the gym. Like I do not view Melo as a guy.
That wouldn't be real smart, though.
Okay, so you can say he's not making the best choices, the best decisions for his overall fitness. But that's a different conversation than this is a guy that doesn't work hard, or this is a guy that is there to coast, or this is a guy that is not going to continue to work on his game. If he chooses Houston, and I think he will choose Houston, he's doing it eyes wide open about who the coach is, about how close they were to a championship, and he would be doing it because he wants to be a part of that. It would be an illogical decision for him to choose to go to Houston with the same exact mindset he had last year in Oklahoma City.
I would wonder, though, does he understand the limited touches he'll get, how they want to integrate him into the offense? Because as of right now, like, James Ennis is not going to be your starter. It's going to be Carmelo Anthony. So in my mind, is Carmelo looking at this like, yeah, I get it, but I want to win, and I could also start here. I'm not convinced he entirely understands and buys into the fact that his role offensively will be different.
It's the same thing we talked about, though, with Boogie. Like, does Boogie understand his role is going to be completely different, and if he thinks he's going to be the guy that's going to have the same type of numbers, it's not. Melo didn't seem to want to embrace any type of different role when he saw the team changing last year in Oklahoma City, and it doesn't look.
He was coming off a 22-point-a-game season when he got to Oklahoma City. He didn't know. This is not yet where he was at in his career. Like, this is my question that I would just have for you, C, or you, Sarah. Why would we know it, but Melo wouldn't? Why would we be able to see something?
It's a matter of what we deem to be important. Like, we think that Melo is his last dying wish to win a championship. We don't know that. Like, we don't know that. We know he won't play the forward position. Don't want to do that. We know he's not going to play great defense. All right, so.
Are you saying why would we understand what his role should be and what point he's at in his career?
Why would we understand that if he goes to the Rockets, that you're not going to be the featured offense, that you're going to have decreased touches? Why would the entire world know that except for him?
I think,
because he wants to play basketball.
He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer that's used to putting up 20-plus points a game every season of his career.
Yeah,
and he's playing with guys that he believes that could raise his level of play.
Everyone don't look at themselves and truth tell. Oh, you know something? I need to play a little defense. No, they don't do that. So if Melo did that, my commentary would be totally different.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.